2014 Camry, throwing a P0500 code vehicle speed sensor. Let's see here. Can we? That's good enough. So this speedometer does work. Let's see. It is. I can speed it up. Let's stop that. All right. Still throws a speed sensor code. I never get. Let's put it back in drive here. Okay. 0, 0. I'm gonna let off the brake. What do we have? 10, almost 10 miles an hour. Still 0 on here. So that's why it throws the code. The computer never sees that the car is moving. This vehicle does not have a generic vehicle speed sensor under the hood on the transmission that you can replace that is for the cluster. It doesn't work like that. This speedometer is driven via the CAN system, so there's not a sensor you're going to replace that will make or not make the speedometer work. So this code is relative to the computer, just doesn't see how fast the car is going. So let's pull this down. This green wire that obviously I ran myself, that's just an overlay, making sure I didn't have, this purple wire goes from here straight to the PCM, and that is the wave signal to the PCM that would tell you, this is how fast we're going. And I overlaid this wire just because I didn't want to check behind the dash for rat problems or, chewed up wires, because this car has some rat issues. But it's low mileage. It's like less than 120,000. Anyways, I tricked myself. This is a junkyard cluster. There's my original. Neither of these helped. It threw the same P0500, because when I checked this wire, you put it in drive, the wheels are spinning. This is supposed to put out a waveform to this wire that goes to the PCM, and that will tell how fast we're going. Not getting that out of the cluster. But the speedometer did work, so I assumed, oh, it's a bad cluster. That wasn't it. So I can take my power probe. This is my just grounding lead off of generic power probe, and I can tap this wire that's supposed to see a ground over and over, and you can see my speed start to go up and then come back down slowly to 0. So that tells me the computer's good because it can read it, and it displays on the scanner. And then I was like, well, that's crazy. That's how I determined I thought it was a cluster. So looking at the wire diagram more, this signal, although it comes from the cluster, it gets here from the ABS module. It's this pink wire right beside this violet. It's the pink wire, which, let me not mess this up, come out here. This ABS module is pin 2. It's like a mint green wire there. That's pin 2. Once it goes under the dash, it changes to pink at some sort of connection. Doesn't really matter. It's also a 5 to 10 volt hot wire, but it is grounded through the ABS module. While it's hot there and hot here, the ABS module will ground it and send a waveform here, goes through the cluster and comes out to the PCM. I finally hooked my scope up to this wire, and with the car moving, I get no wave signal. So to kind of test that, I took the power probe again, and I can ground out the pink wire, tapping through the back, and my scanner went off. All right, I'm gonna have to cut this part of the video out. Okay, where was I at? I was saying I can take and ground over and over this pink. Let's see. So that gives me speed, and that is me triggering the ABS wire into the cluster manually, and that lets the cluster feed that signal back out to the PCM and read. So I'm gonna place the ABS module in this car, throw my original cluster back in it, and hopefully get it back to the customer.